Chosen One, you just turned their attempt at character assassination into the exact moment they became the joke themselves. A clown has been exposed mid-performance, and they don't even realize the audience is laughing at them, not with them. They feel confident right now. They think their little campaign is working, but that arrogance is just the setup for a humbling moment that is already in motion. You know exactly who comes to mind. That person from your past. Someone who matters, or at least someone who used to matter. Trust that instinct. If a face popped into your head, your intuition is confirming what you already suspected deep down. This person wanted your total ruin. We aren't talking about just hurt feelings or a little embarrassment. They wanted your complete destruction. That is the level of hatred they have been carrying in their chest. But here is where they messed up. They assumed you would react like they do. They expected you to get down in the mud and wrestle with them. But you didn't fight back. You stood your ground. You stayed silent. And by doing that, you let the truth do the comedy for you. See, a man of value, a king in his own domain, does not argue with a jester. You understood that. You realized that this person feared confrontation more than anything. They wanted to avoid the direct smoke, so they moved in the shadows. They operated like a coward, hiding their deceit because they dreaded being called out to your face. They wanted to throw rocks and hide their hands. But smoke doesn't just disappear. It rises, it spreads, and eventually it signals to everyone that there is a fire somewhere. People in your circle, in your community, and perhaps even in your professional network are starting to smell it now. They're starting to follow that trail of smoke right back to the source. This person is looking at you and measuring themselves against you. They see what you are building. They see how you are carrying yourself with dignity while they are running around whispering. They compare themselves to you, and they come up short every single time. That comparison is eating away at them. It drives them to the edge of madness because they cannot understand how you are still standing. They aren't openly bad-mouthing you where everyone can hear clearly, because that would be too risky. Instead, they are placing little seeds of doubt. Small comments dropped here and there, subtle implications woven into conversations. They are trying to orchestrate this whole thing like a puppet master, but the strings are tangled. What they didn't count on was your discipline. By refusing to engage in their drama, you highlighted their instability. You made them look obsessive. You made them look like they are losing their grip. While they are running a smear campaign, you are running your life. And that contrast is turning their assassination attempt into a public display of their own incompetence. You just made them the laughingstock, and they are the only ones who don't get the joke yet. Chosen One, pause for a second. You didn't click on this video by accident, and deep down you know that. Your intuition brought you here because you felt the attack coming before it even landed. Don't just watch this and move on. Subscribe right now. You know how the enemy works. They try to distract you right when you are about to get the strategy you need to win. Don't leave your spiritual gates unguarded. The evidence Bakafir, the file of obsession. There is a specific detail about this situation that you need to understand because it is the turning point of the entire conflict. This person wasn't just spreading rumors, they were keeping records. There's a file somewhere. It might be a physical folder, but more likely it is a digital archive hidden on a phone or a hard drive. It is filled with screenshots of your activities, pictures they saved, comments you made years ago, and meticulous notes on your whereabouts. They held on to this file like it was their nuclear weapon. In their twisted mind, they believe this was the smoking gun that would destroy your reputation once and for all. They told themselves they were building a case, acting like a detective gathering evidence for a grand trial. They convinced themselves that once people saw what was in that folder, everyone would turn their backs on you. They were waiting for the perfect moment to play this card, thinking it would be your end. But here's the harsh reality that just hit them in the face. They played their hand and it backfired spectacularly. Someone saw that file. Maybe they showed it to a mutual friend, a family member, or a colleague, expecting validation. They expected the other person to gasp in horror at your actions. But that is not what happened. When a rational, healthy person looks at a file like that, they don't see evidence against you. They see evidence of mental instability in the person holding it. They see the timestamps. They see that this person was up at 3 a.m. 3 years ago, taking screenshots of your status updates. They see that while you were out living your life, building your business, and taking care of your family, this person was sitting in the dark, cataloging your every move. The reaction they got wasn't support, it was fear. The person who saw that file realized instantly that they were dealing with a stalker. Stalker vibes are radiating from that collection. It proved that this wasn't about justice or truth. It was about a deep, unhinged obsession that crosses every line of normalcy. You have to understand how this looks to the outside world, especially to other men and people of status. Normal people move on. If someone wrongs you, you handle it or you walk away. You don't spend months or years building a dossier on them. You don't save their pictures. You don't track their location. When you do those things, you become a liability. The people they tried to recruit against you are now looking at them with suspicion. They are wondering, if they are doing this to him, what are they keeping on me? That breach of privacy makes everyone uncomfortable. It makes people want to distance themselves. They tried to paint you as the villain, but they accidentally painted themselves as dangerous. Every screenshot they took proves stalking occurred. Every note they wrote shows obsession existed. They thought they were documenting your crimes, but they were actually documenting their own descent into madness. They built a prison for themselves, brick by brick, with every piece of evidence they saved. Now, the narrative has flipped completely. The assassination tool they were so proud of has become the primary evidence against their sanity. The community isn't gossiping about what you did anymore. They are whispering about how unhinged this person has become. They are looking at the sheer effort put into this smear campaign and realizing that an emotionally mature person doesn't operate this way. This is why you feel that shift in the energy around you. The threat is gone because the weapon they tried to use shattered in their hands. They wanted to expose you, but they only succeeded in exposing the darkest, most broken parts of themselves. You remained the professional, the authority, the chosen one, while they revealed themselves to be the jester with a dangerous fixation. And once people see that kind of crazy, they cannot unsee it. The label has stuck, and they are the ones who put it there. If you know your hands are clean and their trap has already failed, type 7777 in the comments to seal that truth in the spiritual realm. The peace white theology of the jester. Why they hate your light. You might be asking yourself why this person is so invested in bringing you down. Why spend so much energy trying to destroy someone who isn't even fighting back? The answer is simple, but you need to hear it clearly to understand the game board. This isn't about anything you actually did to them. This is about who you are and what your existence forces them to feel about themselves. There is a massive comparison happening inside their mind. Every time they look at you, they are holding up a measuring stick. They look at your life, your structure, your peace, and your growth. Then they look at their own life, and they see the mess. They see the instability. They measure themselves against you, and they come up short every single time. This comparison eats away at them. It consumes their thoughts. It drives them to the edge of madness because they cannot fix their own life, so they feel the only option is to break yours. They look at your stability, and it highlights their own chaos. Your success is a mirror that shows them their failure, and they hate looking into that mirror. This goes beyond just jealousy over money or status. This is a spiritual trigger. You represent order. You represent a path of intention and divine guidance. You have been walking your path, doing the work, and growing authentically. They represent chaos, deception, and stagnation. When a person living in darkness sees someone walking in genuine light, it burns them. Your spirit irritates their demons. They feel threatened by you because your gifts are sharp and clear, while they are fumbling in the dark. We also need to talk about the connection to your past, because that is the fuel for this fire. There is likely a specific person from before, perhaps an ex-partner, a former spouse, or an old associate who is driving this. There is a history here. This person feels rejected by you. Maybe you were the one who walked away. Maybe you were the one who finally set a boundary they couldn't cross. That rejection created a deep wound in their ego that is never healed. They are still healing from that rejection. But instead of doing the inner work, they decided to tear you down. It is a classic power struggle. They realized they could no longer control you. They couldn't control your decisions, your money, or your future. So the strategy shifted. If they can't control you, they will try to control how the world sees you. They are trying to destroy what they could not keep. There might even be legal issues or custody concerns brewing in the background. The tension isn't just emotional, it's practical. They see you thriving, making more money, being more intuitive, looking better, living better, and it feels like an insult to their struggle. They see everything as a competition. But you didn't even know you were racing. You were just living. This person wanted to be the main character in your story, but they have been reduced to a spectator looking in from the outside. They are the plotter watching through the window with burning envy while you sit at the head of the table. That specific dynamic you inside the warmth of success, them outside in the cold of their own bitterness, is why they have taken on the role of the jester. The jester mocks the king because the jester can never be the king. They make jokes, they perform, and they create a spectacle to get attention. But at the end of the day, they have no power. They only have their tricks. And right now, their tricks are failing because the audience sees the difference between a man of substance and a performer desperate for applause. They hate your light because it exposes their act. And the brighter you shine, the more ridiculous their performance looks. The court of public opinion. Loss of credibility. You need to understand what is happening in the rooms you are not in. While you are going about your business, the environment around this person is shifting rapidly. They thought they were the prosecutor in the court of public opinion, but they made a fatal miscalculation. They forgot that in the real world, credibility is currency, and they just spent their last dime. This isn't the first time they have done this. That is the problem. People are not stupid. They are observers. They have watched this person operate over the years, and they are starting to connect the dots. They are noticing a pattern. This person is always the victim. In every story they tell, there is always a villain, always a crisis, and always someone out to get them. Eventually, people stop asking, "What did he do to you?" and start asking, "Why is drama always following you?" They have become the boy who cried wolf, and the town has stopped listening to the screams. This created what we call the investigation effect. When you make a serious accusation against someone, especially someone with a solid reputation like yours, people don't just blindly accept it. They investigate. They ask questions. They look at the timeline. And when they started looking into the claims made against you, things didn't add up. The evidence wasn't there. The logic was flawed. So, what happens when an investigation clears the accused? The microscope turns around and focuses on the accuser. People started investigating them instead. They examined their motives. They checked their history. They questioned their stability. By demanding that everyone look at you, they accidentally forced everyone to stare directly at their own flaws. They put themselves on trial without even realizing it. For men of a certain age and status, this is professional suicide. In the business world, nobody wants to work with a loose cannon. We build our networks on trust and stability. When people see someone willing to burn down a reputation over a personal vendetta, they see a liability. They see risk. Collaborations are being quietly canceled. Job opportunities are being withheld. A group of people likely refused to work with this person recently because their past behavior is too questionable. It isn't just about gossip. It's about the bottom line. Listen to me closely. I know you are used to handling these battles alone. You watch in silence because you are the strong one, the one who carries the weight. But even a king needs a counsel. If this truth is resonating with your reality, hit that subscribe button. Don't keep walking through this warfare in isolation when an entire alliance of chosen ones is standing right here with you. It would be a mistake to fight alone when you don't have to. People are responding with a polite no thank you to their offers because they don't want that toxic energy anywhere near their projects. They are being marked as unsafe for business. The gossip has completely flipped. The whisper network they tried to weaponize against you has turned against them. A few months ago, the whispers might have been, "Did you hear what he supposedly did?" But now, the conversation has changed. Now, when this person leaves the room, people lean in and say, "Have you seen how he is acting? It's embarrassing." They are asking, "Why is he so obsessed? Why can't he let it go?" The intense investment they have in destroying you is acting like a warning flare to everyone else. It shows they are not focused on their own growth. They are fixated on your destruction. And nothing looks weaker than a man who cannot control his own emotions. They wanted to ruin your name, that they ended up torching their own. They wanted to make you a pariah, but they made themselves a laughingstock. The community that was enjoying the drama as entertainment has now realized it is just sad. They are seeing the schemer as phony, fake, and manipulative. This person is now walking around with a reputation that precedes them, and it is not the one they wanted. They are known as the trickster, the one who paints fairy tales instead of dealing with reality. And the worst part for them? You didn't have to say a word to make this happen. You just let them talk until they talk themselves right out of credibility. They dug their own grave with their tongue, and now they have to lie in it. The verdict is in, and they have lost the only thing that matters, the respect of their peers. Divine, perfection, the shield they can penetrate. There is a reason their attacks haven't landed. There is a reason why, no matter how much dirt they throw, none of it sticks to your name. You need to understand that this isn't luck. This is the reality of spiritual law. You are walking with what I call a Teflon spirit. They can throw lies, accusations, and malice your way, but it all just slides right off you. They are trying to fight a physical battle against a spiritual target. They are using gossip and manipulation, but you are covered by forces beyond their physical understanding. You are guarded by energies that don't sleep. While they are plotting in the dark, you are being protected by the light you carry. This is why they feel so frustrated. They are punching at smoke. They can't land a solid hit because you are protected by something they cannot see and definitely cannot touch. We have to talk about the touch not principle. It is an ancient law, almost biblical in its weight. You do not strike a chosen one without inviting consequences into your own life. They thought you were just another person they could bully. They didn't realize that by attacking you, they were declaring war on the very forces that protect you. You cannot win battles against someone the divine is actively protecting. The universe doesn't allow it. The ancestors don't permit it. Think back to those moments when you just knew to cut someone off. You might not have had proof yet, but your gut screamed at you to block that number or distance yourself from that group. That wasn't paranoia. That was your higher self recognizing the threat before it even manifested. You blinded the watchers right when they thought their observation was complete. You blocked an entire network of fake profiles and bad actors without even fully realizing it was a coordinated effort. Your spirit knew the truth. You cut off their information supply instinctively. This drove them crazy because suddenly they were operating blind. They couldn't see you. They couldn't track you. And that silence from your end created a reaction in them, a spiral of panic, because they lost their target. Now, look at the community around you. They are becoming witnesses to divine justice in real time. They are watching a man standing on a solid rock while his enemy drowns in quicksand. It's becoming obvious to everyone. People are seeing that while you are thriving, the person attacking you is struggling to keep their head above water. The contrast is undeniable. You are calm, they are chaotic. You are building, they are scrambling. This is what happens when you let God fight your battles. You don't have to raise your voice because the results speak for themselves. You are untouchable in the ways that matter most. The storm they sent your way is raging around them, destroying their own house, while you sit in the eye of it, completely safe. Let this be the evidence you needed. You don't have to defend yourself constantly because your character is being defended by truth itself. You don't have to prove your innocence. Their own behavior proves your innocence for you. You are shielded. You are guided. And as long as you stay aligned with your purpose, there is no weapon formed against you that can ever prosper. They are learning the hard way that when you come for a chosen one, you better not miss. And they missed. Stop right there. If you haven't subscribed yet, you need to ask yourself why. The enemy wants you disconnected. The enemy wants you to think this is just an algorithm, but your spirit knows this is a lifeline. Every time you search for answers, the divine guides you to messages like this. Do not reject the reinforcements heaven is sending you. Subscribe now so you stay connected to the voice that speaks truth while everyone else is lying to your face. The collapse of their house, personal consequence. While this person was busy trying to burn down your reputation, they forgot to water their own lawn. Now they are looking around at a total system failure in their own life. This is the part of the story where reality hits them hard. You cannot spend all your time destroying someone else without neglecting your own responsibilities. And right now, their neglect is showing. Everything seems to be falling apart at once in their world. Money problems are surfacing that can't be ignored anymore. Employment opportunities are drying up because, as we discussed, nobody wants to hire a liability. There is housing instability. Maybe they are being asked to leave a living situation, or they are uncomfortable where they are because the people they live with are sick of the drama. They are trying to blame you for this. They are telling themselves that if they had just succeeded in taking you down, their life would be better. But that is a lie. They poisoned their own ground and now they are angry that nothing is growing. You are seeing relationships in their life crumble, family members distancing themselves, partners walking away, and friends stopping the calls. They tried one last desperate move. You might have felt it coming. They tried to play what they thought was a trump card. They had some information, some secret, or some twisted version of a story that they were hoarding as leverage. They waited for the perfect moment to reveal it, thinking it was a royal flush. They thought this was the move that would finally humiliate you. But when they slammed that card down on the table, it wasn't a royal flush. It was a joker. It was nothing. The big reveal fell flat. The information they thought was so damaging actually just showed everyone how deep their obsession goes. It proved that they had been holding on to grudges and documenting trivial things for way too long. Instead of gasps of horror against you, they got awkward silence. They showed their hand, and it revealed nothing but their own emptiness. Now, look at the people who used to support them. We call them the flying monkeys, the people who fetch and carry for the narcissist. They are fleeing. The ship is sinking, and the rats are the first to jump off. These people realize that associating with this person brings heat. It brings legal trouble. It brings stress. They don't want to be involved in court battles or custody fights that have nothing to do with them. The group attacks they tried to coordinate have shut down because the participants realized they were being used as pawns. Nobody likes feeling used, so they have left the schemer all alone. The phone isn't ringing. The texts aren't getting replies. The isolation is setting in, and for someone who feeds on attention, that silence is the worst punishment possible. This brings us to the harsh truth of their current existence. They have become the cautionary tale in your community. When people talk about how not to handle a breakup or a business split, they point to this person. They are the example parents warn their children about. They are the don't be that guy of the circle. They wanted to be the hero who exposed you. Instead, they became the village idiot who destroyed themselves over a grudge. It is tragic, in a way, but it is also self-inflicted. They had every chance to stop. They had every chance to focus on their own healing, but they chose the path of destruction, and now they have to live in the ruins they created. You are building a legacy. They are managing a disaster, and that is the ultimate difference between a chosen one and a jester. If you are ready to stand still and watch divine justice do the heavy lifting for you, type 7777 to activate that protection. The chosen one's ascent, building while they burn. While all this chaos is happening to the schemer, we need to shift the focus to what is happening with you. This is the part of the story that really stings them. While their life is catching fire, yours is taking flight. You are thriving in your life. You are working on meaningful projects, developing valuable skills, and creating real value in the world. Think about the allocation of resources here. Every hour they spend scrolling through your content, analyzing your words, and plotting their little attacks, you spent that same hour building your future. They invested their time in tearing you down. You invested your time in building yourself up, and the market always rewards the builder, never the destroyer. You have been busy living your life fully while they were just watching it. You are elevating to new heights financially and spiritually. Your intuition is sharper than it has ever been, and your purpose is clearer than before. You are accessing levels of awareness and ability that they can only observe from the outside with burning envy. You are building a legacy. They are just building a file. This created a psychological phenomenon that worked completely in your favor, something called the contrast effect. This is where their plan backfired the hardest. By spreading lies about you, they lowered people's expectations. They told everyone you were unstable, mean, or dishonest. They painted a picture of a villain. So, when people finally met you, or when they saw you operating in your element, they were shocked. They expected a monster, but they met a man of grace and power. Because their expectations were set so low by the lies, your actual character shined 10 times brighter. It is like when someone tells you a movie is terrible, but you watch it and realize it's a masterpiece. You appreciate it more because you were told to hate it. They accidentally created the perfect setup for you to exceed expectations every single time. People are looking at you now and seeing the disconnect between what was said and who you actually are. They feel your peace radiating. They see your authenticity. And that contrast makes the schemer look like a liar without you having to say a single word. The best revenge isn't arguing, it is living well. And you are living very well. You aren't sitting around laughing at them. You aren't obsessed with their downfall. Honestly, you are too busy succeeding to even notice them. And that indifference burns them more than any anger ever could. They wanted a reaction. They wanted you to be angry, defensive, and stalled. Instead, they look in your direction and see you closing deals, expanding your mind, and connecting with the divine. You are moving at a speed they cannot catch. In the rearview mirror of your journey, they are getting smaller and smaller. You are proving that you don't need to play dirty to win. You just need to stay in your lane and keep your foot on the gas. While they are drowning in the drama they created, you are standing on solid ground, looking toward a horizon they will never reach. You are the builder, and your work speaks for itself. The file, Fiverdist, sealed by fate. The dust is finally settling, and the landscape has changed forever. You need to look at the scoreboard one last time. The verdict is already in, and it is final. This person wanted to leave a permanent mark on your reputation, to stain your legacy. But in their attempt to throw mud, they only succeeded in getting their own hands dirty. The stain is on them now, and it is not washing off. Their reputation is damaged in ways they cannot fix, because people saw the ugliness behind the mask. Meanwhile, your name is being cleared without you having to lift a finger. You didn't have to defend yourself in every room because your character walked into those rooms before you did. The divine has handled your complete vindication while you focused on your elevation. There is a universal lesson here that they failed to learn. You cannot bury a seed and expect it to die. They tried to dig a hole and bury you in it. They thought the darkness would kill you, but they forgot that you are a seed. The pressure didn't crush you, it forced you to grow. The darkness didn't hide you, It gave you the environment to root yourself deeper. They tried to end you, but they accidentally watered your growth. You have won this battle decisively. And the most powerful part is that you won it without lifting a sword. You didn't win by out-shouting them or out-manipulating them. You won by simply being who you are. You won by staying true to yourself, trusting the process, and refusing to let their darkness create darkness in you. Stand tall in this victory. You are the last man standing because you were the only one standing on truth. The war is over. The assassin has been disarmed by their own incompetence. Take this as the ultimate confirmation. That gut feeling you had in the beginning, it was right. That intuition that told you to stay silent, it saved you. Trust that inner voice, because it is your greatest weapon. Keep building your life. Keep walking your path. You turned their assassination attempt into their public humiliation without even trying hard. That is not luck. That is the power of a chosen one. The universe doesn't play games, and neither do you. Case closed. Before you go, chosen one, realize what just happened. You made it to the end of this message, while others scrolled past. That means your spirit was hungry for this confirmation. Don't walk away without sealing this victory. Subscribe now.